All right, guys. Sound check 1 2. Sound check 1 2. Can everybody hear me? Sound check 1 2. All right, perfect. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to tell you guys, you're going to see these charts as I'm seeing them. I just got home from playing golf. I haven't looked at the charts, haven't done anything with them, adjusting Fibonacci's, anything like that. So you're seeing them just like I'm seeing them. I just got on and here we go. So let's take a look and see where we're at. So you're going to be able to see it the way I see it, like if I just came home, didn't see them all day long, and this is what we're looking at. So let's go ahead and do the futures chart. Let's pull it over. And all right, so we had a breakdown, right? And guess what? We filled the gap. All right, so let's go ahead and take this out. I'm going to remove that since we filled that gap. And let's go ahead and take out, we obviously broke through the 38.2 retracement. I'll take it out. And so we're holding at the 50% retracement. I still think we're probably due for some, probably down to the 61.8, and that's where the 50 EMA is. Still bullish though, because the 10 and the 20 haven't crossed each other, and we saw what happened back in here. We can still come back down. They can cross, but still be bullish, right? Because we got this area down here. The only thing that bothers me about this is that, let's go ahead and just drill in a little bit. That 78.6 is obviously hard resistance as well as a downtrend line on the futures chart. Pointed it out a while back. The thinking was that it might hold the 10 and break through, but being so close to the upper Bollinger Band, and I think the last time I was on here, I think I even talked about, and you'll have to remind me, but my original thinking was that we would probably come back down into this area because the Bollinger Bands would get tight and meet somewhere down in this area. So short term, I was thinking there was a possibility of breaking through that, but my original thinking ended up taking over, and here we are. So I guess we'll see what happens when we get down here around 10.5, looks like, on the futures chart. Okay, and I'll go over to a Coinbase chart here in just a little bit and show you what I see there. But anyway, that's kind of what I got. And then the squeeze indicator, obviously, this is starting to look like a head fake, right? You get a bullish go long type deal, and then all of a sudden it wants to pull back in. So it's very rare that happens, but it did this time. We could end up coming back to flat again, and then we'll see what it does on the histogram as far as giving signals. So that's kind of what I got there on the futures chart. But still, here's the thing. We're still, at least making higher highs, right? We had a higher low right here, a high right here, and until we break this low, things are pretty bullish, right? It's still bullish. Okay. So anyway, I'll leave it at that, and we'll see what happens. We could obviously still. My thinking is that by tomorrow we'll probably come down and test the 50 EMA, and then we'll see if we want to come down and test the 78.6 retracement at 9,900. Okay, so all that could still happen. Lower Bollinger Band. I would love to see the lower Bollinger Band just scream right up into this area over the next few days and then have that be like a springboard type effect, you know. I definitely don't want to see it be like losing that. I mean, we could still wick down into this area and fill this gap. That's still possible. But anyway, that's kind of what I got on that. So, any questions? All right, so if no questions there, let's go ahead and move over to the Coinbase chart. And this is kind of what I drew last night. You know, I had kind of a wedge pattern here. Obviously, we could take that out. Let's get that out of there because it broke it. But just kind of holding around the, you know, the 200-day moving average. Let me go in and take out some of these fibs that it's broken, and obviously broken support. Let's do this. 1272 is gone. And let's see if I can click on that 38% and get that out of there. There we go. And still holding above the 50-day moving average. All right, so again, the downtrend line right here. It's a little bit different than the futures only because the pricing is different. But it could, you know, it could be in for a short term, like, gosh, what do you want to call it? Dead cat bounce, maybe, back into this area at 11,100. And that's the area, especially with the 10 EMA. That's the big resistance now. So you got to get back through that. So we'll see what happens at the 200-day moving average. You know? Oh, and that's a 4-hour chart, by the way. Let me switch this back over to a daily. My bad. All right. There we go. Okay, and so we can take out this. And actually, I don't want to take it out. Let's just kind of change it. Let's make this red now, since that'll be resistance coming back through. That was strong support. Held, bounced a little bit, and then failed. So that's going to be an area to get back through. The 50 EMA is lining up right around 10,500 ish, maybe 10,006. So that's an area to watch. Slow stock or stochastic RSI is screaming down, obviously in a selling mode. So you don't want to get in front of that just yet. You know, wait until it tries to, you know, get somewhere down in here into the oversold, and then you can start looking for signs of taking along. So there's no need to, you know, get in this and try to pick a bottom. Unless you're just short term. So looks like more choppiness ahead. You know, we're basically, if you look at this over the last, what is this, month and a half, we're basically in a range, right? It's a range. We're here, down, up, down. It's in a range. And so it's forming something, right? But what is it forming? Is it a base of this area down here? And that's what we launch off, you know, to get up? This is all just choppy, long. I mean, look at this. This is a big range too. This is so volatile. And you can trade that. You can trade that. You know, it's not like you want to be long term something, but you don't have to be, you know, worried about, you know, say like sticking in it for too long. You just want to swing trade it if you can, and That's kind of where we're at. So anyway, let's see what happens. You know, I don't think it's any time to panic. I know everybody's like, oh my gosh, it broke through 11,000, yada, yada, yada. Well, it's still above 10,000 and we're still in this long uptrend. Okay? So let's just play it by ear and see what happens. I'm still bullish. Questions? Any questions? So if I'm looking at this chart right now, right, and I drew this fib retracement, okay, 50% of this move right here is here. 61.8 is right here. Okay, so if you're looking at the Coinbase chart, watch your fibs, right? Could it wick down to here and then bounce? Or could it wick down to here and then bounce? Right? As long as we hold above the 78.6 retracement, this thing is still bullish, right? Still bullish. This is a corrective move off this move. Now, the only thing I don't like is that we've made higher lows, or lower highs, right? High right here, lower high, lower high. That's lower highs. You don't want to see that in a bull move, right? But we made a low here and a double bottom or a slightly higher low. So as long as we hold this area right in here, things are bullish. Make sense? That's how you look at it. It's all price action. Doesn't like that trend line, right? It's all based on a 4-hour chart right there. So what you're wanting to see is some sort of base build down in this area and then break through. But this area right up here around 12,000, that is monster resistance. But the feeling is that if it does break this trend line and can get going, then it'll probably break right through it. Okay? That's the feeling. And the reason I wanted a new indicator built was because what I want to look for is when I see, here's the stochastic RSI, okay? And this is a daily chart. You see where it's coming down, it's getting into the oversold, right? It's getting close to oversold. Still has a little bit more to go. But if I switch over to a weekly chart, it is also getting down close to oversold, right? Getting close. If I switch over to a monthly, it's almost overbought. Okay? Now that's a monthly, mind you. But let's switch over to a 6-hour chart. This is oversold, right? So it was oversold here. We've got the daily chart and the weekly charts all coming down into close to oversold positions. So the thinking in my indicator is that if I can get some indicator that shows me that the 6-hour, 4-hour, the daily, and the weekly are all oversold, then I know that there's a good chance that a bottom is coming or close to a bottom. right? That's why I want that indicator built somehow, some way. I mean, I could obviously open up multiple charts and look at it, but it would be nice to be able to look at it right here and just have some indicator says, okay, all 4 of them are lined up and oversold. So be on the lookout for a potential bottom somewhere. And then you just kind of look at your moving averages, you look at fibs, and you go, okay, is it close to a 78.6? Is it close to a 1.272? Is it close to a 61.8? Then you can get signals and go, okay, well, this seems like a high reward, low risk opportunity to be able to get into something and see if it turns. That's the thinking with that indicator that I was talking about last night. So anyway, 6 hour is oversold again. It obviously got rejected right here at the 20. But any kind of, and we're getting some selling pressure right there, but it's close to the 200. Let's watch the fibs and see where she might want to bounce. Excuse me. And then we look at a 4 hour chart. It's oversold. And it's sitting right on the 200-day moving average. So, I don't know. You get this move here, corrective move down, big here, corrective down. Now, this thing could totally fall apart and drop all the way and wick down into this area. You could get a big move like this and then a snapback. Okay? And so, if we go back, like I've talked about for quite a while, let's just zoom out a little bit and go back and look at Bitcoin on a historical basis. Where has it always come back to? It's always come back to the 200-day moving average, right? Before it makes a monster move. We've had this nice run right here, which can, resemble a little bit of this move here, but it always comes back and tests the moving averages. We're not even close to the 200-day moving average, right? That's going to be around 8,000. And if you look at it, Bitcoin is so volatile that, it could come down and test that, right? But the big key is going to be to see in this area right here where I've got these thick lines, that is the area to hold. That has to hold that area. Anything below that, and I'll get very suspicious. All right? But right now, volume has just not been there ever since this move right here. And you see huge volume came in right at the top. So, do we need to see a big red stick and capitulation to be able to tell us it's a bottom? Possibly. But if we go back over here, let's go see what happened over in here. You get these little wild spikes, wicks. As long as the 200-day moving average is moving up, it's a bullish chart, okay? It's bullish. We had the bear market right in here, and then once we broke above and started turning this around, it's bullish. So any kind of retracement back to this area is going to be normal, right? Shouldn't be unexpected. It has to be something to be looked out for. But it has to be held. All right. So anyway, that's Bitcoin. What any chart requests, any questions about Bitcoin, or what has everybody got? Taking questions. Oh, come on. Somebody has to have some questions. Let's go. What do we got? LTC. Let's go look. All right. Litecoin. Where do I have it at? There we go. Okay, so as I mentioned last night, I don't know what all this talk was. I was seeing on Twitter, people were calling it a scam. The owner and the founder or the developer quit. All that stuff. Okay, so if that happened, right? If that happened, would you not expect Litecoin to be like down in here? If it was such a scam, wouldn't it be down in this area? Around 28 or 30, maybe even lower? So where's all that talk coming from? The only thing I'm seeing right now is that, and I'm really surprised, to be honest with you, that once it broke through the 200-day moving average, that it has not come down to test this trend line. And I think I mentioned this a while back too, is that I always thought that it would come back and maybe test the trend line, right? This uptrend line, and then decide to move on. Possibly even to, start a new move up, or either break it and drop all the way down. Okay? So you've still got support right here at this low. Okay, you've got some support right here at the 78.6, which it has not broken. So until it breaks the 78.6, why panic or worry about whatever people are saying on Litecoin, right? I mean, the feeling is that it probably will get down to here, just like Bitcoin would probably get down and maybe fill that gap at 8,500, then Litecoin could possibly come down to here in the mid 60s and maybe test that trend line and then possibly bounce. But right now there's no catalyst, right? It's just somebody is like, either somebody is accumulating this thing right now, or they're distributing, right? They were obviously distributing up in here, but distributing down in here, makes me a little suspicious. And especially after we saw, and I talked about this candle pattern right there, we saw the big drop. Can it do a move opposite of that? All right. So we'll see. But I just don't get all the negative talk on Litecoin right now. Let's go look at DGB. And this one you will find very interesting. I was pretty tired last night, but anyway, one of my favorites. And let's go and zoom in on this one, right? All right. And I'm going to zoom in real close. Okay. The 161.8 retracement is where it made this doji candle, right? And so if you've seen me talk about morning stars before, this one is almost perfect, right? Almost. Not quite, but almost. You had a big, long downtrend coming down and just boom. Big red stick right here. Doji. That's indecision. That's like, okay, maybe it's not going lower and some buyers are coming in. And then all of a sudden the next day you had a reversal. Big green stick. That's a big time reversal candle pattern right there. Okay? Big time. So now what do we look for? It's had a problem getting past this, and closing. I'm not going to say past it, but closing above the 20 EMA, which is in red right here. Okay? So if we was to go way back, the only time it did was this big red stick, and then it got reversed real hard the next day. So what we want to watch for on DGB is let's get above the 10 EMA to start out with, close above it, test the 20, close above it, and then the next day hold on to it or hold on to the 10 EMA and get these moving averages turned around to where they're hooking up, right? That's the key. Right here, it was going sideways a little bit. It was like it was trying, but it just couldn't, right? Bollinger Bands were tight, had everything lined up like it could have gone, and just didn't. It just dropped. People lost interest, sold it off, and now we go down and test the next support level, which is the 161.8. So, get above this. It's going to take a while. I don't know that it's going to be like a rocket ship or anything like that. But who knows? Maybe by September-ish, somewhere in this area, if it can sustain and hold this area and just build a base and just inch higher, then it can get something to launch off of. And who knows? Maybe get back up to 125, test this area, etc., etc. It's all about chopping through resistance now for DGB. I mean, I still think long term this one's got a good chance, but it's probably, when I look at this 200-day moving average up here, way up here at 185, and I see it coming down in my mind, I'm projecting where that 200-day moving average is going to be. Right? Barring that it did just make a monster move like this and try to turn it right here. But when I see big space in between the 50 and the 200, that's huge resistance right in there. Huge. So the point is, let it get down and just build a base down in here, right? Maybe go sideways for a while. Get these 10 and 20 moving averages moving up, then get above the 50 and just kind of inch your way up and get into maybe, I don't know, late September, October, and then turn this thing around, right? That's kind of the thinking. So it's going to be a longer term hold. Don't expect the moon on this unless, who knows, it gets listed on some exchange and then all bets are off. But it's not one of those that if it did, let's just say it did get listed on Binance, it's not one of those that I don't think you would want to buy into that. You wouldn't want to wait and let it, test up here and then buy back down in here and then obviously let it go from there. Okay, Nelson. BTC, will it bounce back from 2.7 dropping further? I'll go back to it. I'll go back to BTC real quick. And I'll zoom in. Okay. So this is kind of my thinking. I think that down in this area, right in here, is going to be big. Could it bounce at the 50% retracement? Sure. I wouldn't count on it. I think it's probably going lower. The guess here is that we'll see what happens at the 50-day moving average, or the 50 EMA, which is around 10,560. So let's see what happens at 10,560, right? And see what happens in here. And then the better bet is that 10.3. 10.3 is probably your better bet. If it wicks down there and then tries to bounce, that's probably your better bet. And possibly even down at the 78.6, which is around 9,800. So we could see Bitcoin go back below 10,000, but I would almost expect that to be bought up really quickly. So I don't know that I would, unless you're like major short term, I don't know that I would be looking to try to guess a bottom here. I mean, I think it's probably going a little bit lower, probably right into this range, 10.3. I mean, if you wanted to like a, 300 or 400 point bounce, that's probably your area. 10.3. And it seems like, and I'll just, if anybody has questions about this, I know people have, concerns that we're going into a recession, and things of that nature, and how Bitcoin will react, right? That's like a big topic. It seems like, my point is that currencies react different in a recession, okay? So people are going to go to where they can make the most money, right? They're going to take their money out of stocks and they're going to go somewhere else, right? So if we do go into a recession, what's wrong with Bitcoin? Or what's wrong with gold? So that's kind of my thoughts on this, is that I just think Bitcoin over the long term is going to be fine. It's going to be very volatile, but in a recessionary period, I don't think people are going to like treat it as like, okay, that's a major risk, I'm getting my money out. I don't think they're going to do that. That's my feeling. I think money would probably, go into it. It's probably not going to be like a rocket ship. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to go to 30,000, but I think it'll be kind of like a choppy, safe haven kind of, okay, it's holding steady around 10, 11,000, maybe 9. I think people would probably do something like that. That's kind of the thinking. And then it could just stay in this range for a few months. It really could. I mean, it's just been choppy, basing, ever since it broke above and went up here, it's just been kind of basing, right? So could it come all the way back down here? Sure. Could it go all the way back up here? Yep. It's just choppy. See this? Choppy. So don't get into the mindset that, oh my gosh, here's the move. Look at these candles, right? Everybody saw these big green candles and, oh my gosh, here we go. We're going to break out to the moon. No. Let it form a base in here and see what happens, right? Because we still have tons of overhead resistance up in here, and everybody and their dog knows it, right? There's still a lot of people, and this is what people forget. Go back and look here. There are still a lot of bag holders right up in this area, okay? It's no coincidence that we're holding right in here, okay? There's a lot of people that either average down or, they average down back in here and they're like, okay, get me the hell out of this. I finally broke back to even, or I'm close to even. I'm getting out. Right? Tons of people bought in here and got stuck and went through all of this and then finally decided to go, okay, I'm buying right in here. I'm going to average down. And then, okay, I'm going to buy a little bit more. And then, okay, I'm going to sell out. I'm getting out. Does that make sense? I've seen it time and time again. That's what happens in a market. And once you finally get these people out of the market, back in here, Once you get them out, then you can get the real investors involved and you can proceed on. But we're not quite there yet. Getting close, but we're not quite there yet. Okay, so let's see. I was on the golf course and I saw BCH was up. What's going on with this one? That was one of the only ones that was green. What is going on with that? I don't like that at all. Okay. I really don't like it. In fact, this almost kind of confirms, and I may be totally wrong and way off base, but I just do not like this at all. Let's see. It's a bearish wedge right there. Okay. And when I was eyeballing it, I was like, it just kind of looks funky to me. I could be totally wrong on this one. And if you're a holder of BCH, I hope I'm wrong. But I just get the inkling. Although, I mean, I will say this, the 10 and the 20 EMA are hooking up, but it just has the makings of just a choppy, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, just kind of a wedge pattern to be able to break back down to the downside and test the trend line. Almost similar to Litecoin, right? BCH and Litecoin are almost similar. If you look at the charts, they're almost identical. So we'll see. I could be totally way off base on this one, but I would like to see it come back and test the trend line and then go from there. But right now it looks like it's trying to hold this little base right in here and maybe move up higher. So I could be totally wrong. Let's go look at ETH. ETH is it's just kind of holding this little bottom area. High, sell off, and just basing at the low. So your choices are one of two things. Either it holds this area and breaks up, or it breaks down. And I cannot predict this one right now. I'm not even going to try to. If you pointed a gun at my head and asked me, I would probably say it's going to go down. Probably over the next few days, maybe go down a little bit and then possibly bounce from there. But I mean, I guess you could still be bullish right here as long as it holds this low. That's big support. If that support breaks, then you're going down to test the trend line, and then you're, seeing if it holds it and moves up. Okay, what else we got? Anything else cool going on? Any other questions? Chart requests? I know most alts are still getting beat up. Let's see. Let's look at RVN, which I still like, and I still hold a position. Let's see here. Yeah, tried to hold the 127.2. Yeah, still needs to, get above the 10, the 20. Still needs to get above those. Just for giggles and grins, let's go look at the stock market. I mean, I know everybody's talking about recession this and recession that. Let's go look at the stock market. And let's just take a look at SPX. Decent trade on Link. Yeah, I mean, and believe it or not, I still hold some Link. Link is one of those that I've always said that it, like, as long as it holds this green area right in here, this thing has the potential, right? Just based on everything that's going on with it. I mean, this thing has the potential to make another one of these monster moves out of nowhere, right? And so, the Bollinger Bands are very tight right now, okay? They're hanging around the top. It's just choppy. It wicks a lot. So there is a big battle going on right in here. And so somebody's either trying to hold this down to keep it from going any further until they get what they want, or they are distributing because they want the hell out. But I think Link is one of those you could play, you could play that daily, it seems like. Let's go look at a 4-hour chart. Look at that. Just when you think you get this little move down here and it scares the crap out of everybody, oh my gosh, it's crashing, it's crashing, it's crashing, it just falls right back into the green zone, right? Perfect area to buy. And then you get a move, comes back down, hits the lower Bollinger Band, and then rockets higher. But it's getting outside the Bollinger Band, so it's going to be choppy, it's going to be wicky. Just pick your spots, man. I mean, pick like the 200-day moving average. This thing is just like, look at this. It's just bouncing right around the 200-day moving average. Right in here. Big moves right around the 200-day moving average. And once you start to finally get the 10 and the 20 and the 50 hooking through those, you might get a sustained move. Right? But this thing is just so choppy right now. It's still holding on to its base, though. You gotta like it. And it's really respecting the Bollinger Bands. I'll say that too. It's doing exactly. Look at this. I mean, it could probably hit 260 tomorrow, but then also fall all the way back to $2 the next day. That's just wick wise. That's what it can do. But right now, at some point, these Bollinger Bands are going to start expanding just like it did back in here, right? When I point this way, I'm not saying it's going up, right? That's where I think it probably is going to go, but I'm not saying that's the way it's going to go. It could go the other way, And it could come all the way back down to here. But from everything I've seen, this thing looks like it has a good project. You know, and I'm looking at, if you zoom in real close, the 10 and the 20 are moving up. All right. So this thing could start busting a move. It's gonna be a wild ride, but that's what it looks like to me. And if you follow the trading plan, you know, it's pretty easy, right? You buy it, you take your initial investment out, and then you let the rest ride. And if you get one of those wild spikes that comes down and you're able to be there and catch it, then you just rinse and repeat. Build up your portfolio in whatever you like. You know what I'm saying? Don't sit there and just pray for the moon and think this is going to $20, which I'm not saying that it can't, but I'm just saying don't sit there and think it's going to happen overnight. You know, there's too many people on Twitter that go, and I haven't seen it yet because I don't have time, but I'm sure there's probably somebody out there that goes, hey, Link is going to hit $20 by Friday. Come on. Let's get realistic here. Right? Let's stay in reality. But right now, I mean, it looks pretty good. This could be doing a little bottoming action right here. Right? Could be bottoming in the green zone. And then take it higher. So, okay, any other questions? That's Link. We talked about RVN. Excuse me. And I am by no means saying this is like alt season coming up. But we're starting to get some interesting patterns and potentials on things. Got to be picky. Got to be very picky. Let's go look at what else we got. Link, RVN. Let's look at XMR. Yeah, see, this is one that, oh my God. Okay. Wow. Head, shoulder, neckline. Okay. If this thing breaks below, If it breaks below 69, it's over. Monero. That is just ugly. That is just fugly. Do not like that right there. And I could be totally wrong, and this thing probably screams to, it'll scream to 160 tomorrow, but that is ugly. That is not good. I don't like that at all. Do not like it. So that's Monero. Let's go look at ZEC. This one... Oh, wow. I wouldn't even begin to try to take a position in this one either. Why fight that, right? So back in here, if you were, this is July 19th, right? And here we are August 13th. And if you were back in here going, you know what? I think it's going to break through. I think it's going to break through. But it didn't. Did it, right? That's why you have to go with confirmation. You can't just think it's going to break through that, right? You have to go with confirmation. And then somebody that gets in here is all of a sudden trying to predict that it's going to get through that. Well, guess what? It has not broken the 10 EMA. Look at this. The 10 EMA has been driving this thing way down. So if you're even thinking about getting into Zcash, think again, right? And it's broken this low. So if somebody was like, okay, well, that's support, I'm going to buy it there. No. Here's support down here, all the way down to 46. I still wouldn't buy it. I would wait. I mean, and who knows? I could be wrong. This thing could, like, all of a sudden one day, a big green stick comes out of nowhere. It wouldn't bother me. I would be like, well, good luck to somebody that was lucky enough to get into it. I don't play that game. I don't do that. I want to see confirmation. I want to see things hold support levels and EMAs and get through them, and Fibonacci. I mean, that's what I want to see. I don't want to see this right here, trying to catch that. You can't. That's asking for trouble. And your capital is tied up, right? So if you got in, your capital is tied up for a month. You can't do anything else. You know what? I think the I don't think it'll tank. I really don't. Because there's another Binance thing coming for U.S. customers, from what I've heard. So I think that's a non-event, to be honest with you. I really do. I think that's a non-event. Yeah, I think right now everything is kind of going to what I said a long time ago, is that a lot of these alts are going to go to zero. A lot of them. I mean, and I don't think I've been wrong in that prediction, have I? I mean, we're getting closer to a lot of them. It just, Bitcoin reminds me so much of what happened with the NASDAQ back in the .com days. And that's what I mentioned a long time ago. I've been through this. I've seen it. There were so many technology companies and .coms and .com this, .com that. And a lot of them were junk, right? A lot of them were absolute junk. But that's what drove the market back then, was all kinds of cash coming into these, and people were so excited. I'm going to get rich overnight on this, and blah blah, and that's what caused the recession. Was that you had the .com burst, People started finally waking up and going, you know what? This company doesn't make money at all. All they do is like, there was like two guys that invented something and called it a .com something, you know, and that's, they banked, they made money, and then their company goes bankrupt and everybody loses money. And that's what caused the recession. It was risky, you know, and that's kind of what's going on with Bitcoin. Well, not Bitcoin, but the altcoins right now. I mean, and Bitcoin kind of is that Bitcoin is compared to the NASDAQ back then. So, you know, we're getting into a period where you're going to see probably 85 to 90% of these things just go totally underwater. They're going to keep dropping and dropping and dropping. And some of these are going to be really good buys once they hit their bottom, right? But you don't have to rush into them right then. You know, you're going to know which ones are the strong ones, right? And there's still a lot of good alts out there right now that I'm sure have good projects and they're going to be around for a long time, but there's a majority of them are junk. Absolute junk. And so when you're trading them, do not sit there and go all in and think this is the one that's going to make me $1 million. It's not going to happen. I'm just telling you, unless you've done your due diligence and you have absolute 100% conviction and certainty that this thing is for real, right? Then don't do it. Just trade it. You know, do the plan as I've outlined. Get into a trade, get your original investment out, and then let some free shares ride. And then you don't have to worry about it. If it goes to zero, it goes to zero, and you don't lose nothing. You know? Or you take a little bit of profit plus your investment, if you can. And then if the rest of it goes to zero, who cares? You made money on it. If it goes to $1 million, then you still have some shares. Rail blocks. Yeah, I've never heard of that one. Guys, right now, I'm just telling you, capital preservation is the key. Okay? Keep your capital. Don't sit there and invest it in one thing. Okay? Don't, if you've got $1,000 and you're like, okay, and I'll even throw DGB out there. Okay? I'm going to put all $1,000 into DGB because I know it's probably going to go from, where's it at right now? DGB's at 88. Okay? I'm going to put all $1,000 of my money into DGB at 88 because I guarantee you it's going to be 100 tomorrow. And I'm going to be able to take that $1,000 and sell it at 100. Why? Why make such a move? Why do that? It's stupid. Absolutely stupid. Take 25% of that and risk it into DGB if that's what you feel like your charting has shown you that it's at a bottom, it's making a move. That's when you do something like that. 25% of your 1,000. And then once it makes a move and it gets up and hits a fib retracement level or resistance zone, then sell out 50% of the 25% or wherever you think your original investment would get you plus some profit, and then let the rest ride. Does that make sense? How does the closure affect BNB? I don't know. I don't think it does. Let's go look at BNB. Let's see how it's reacting. Where is the chart? Get my eyeballs working here. Thought I had it pretty close. There we go. All right, so BNB compared to, it looks like it kind of fulfilled its head and shoulders right up here. But it's got this trend line, and let me thicken it up a little bit so you can see it. There we go. And I'll change the color to make it darker. Let's go down here. There we go. Okay. Okay, so there's your BNB. This is your Binance Cross BTC long-term chart. This is a daily chart. Trend line, move, coming back. I would expect to come back here and possibly test the trend line again. Okay? Stochastic RSI is way, way overbought. It was overbought back in here. So let's see if it makes another move down into this area, right? The trend line area, and possibly, I would say even maybe the 78.6. It's already broken. Let's see. Let me take this out because it's already broken the 61.8. So let's take it out. That Fib retracement is gone. So why not come down into this area? Not saying that it'll actually get, nothing has to exactly hit that Fib retracement, right? But it could hit right in here and then make another move, right? So this is a little ways off. I'm not ready to say that this is a, well, let me get this line out of here too because it broke it. There we go. But yeah, why not come back and test the, uptrend line? And as far as fiscal analysis or anything like that, I'm not the one to go to. I mean, I'm just not. I don't have the time to sit there and do all the research all day. I don't. I mean, I got a day job. I try to keep up as much as I can, but I don't have the time to be able to delve into the financials of all these companies. I used to back in the day. Back in the day, I could look at stocks, financials, and stuff like that, but I don't have the time anymore. I just have to look at the charts. All right. Any other questions? Any other chart requests? Let's go look at it. I got some time. Let's go look at some other stuff. I'm just going to... This is what I've got over here. It's all populated in somehow. Let's go look at ICX. Oh, I know what I was going to do. So I was talking about the stocks. There we go. All right, so this is the S&P 500, right? And everybody's talking about the yield curve and how it's trying to invert and show. Yeah, let me refresh this real quick. Hang on. That looks blurry. Let me refresh. All right, there we go. But everybody's talking about the yield curve and how it's trying to signal a recession. It's possible, right? When you see moves like this, and then we're hitting a 127.2 retracement up here. Let's just go look at a weekly chart. I'm just curious. Lord. Let's zoom in a little bit. This is a weekly chart. And there's no doubt we've been in a bull market. Still a bull market. But one has to wonder, right? You've seen numerous times the market try to reverse, okay? And you can see it. Here's a reversal pattern. There's a reversal pattern. There's a bearish engulfing big time reversal pattern. Huge drop. Hanging man candle drop. But then you had a bullish engulfing. So the market wasn't ready to drop. It hit the 38.2 retracement. But then up here you get a bearish engulfing candle on the weekly chart. And what did we get? We got the drop. But we got the drop down to the 10 EMA. Okay? Or, I'm sorry, the 50 EMA. But the 10 and the 20 have not crossed. They're still, look at this. You got the huge bounce off the 50, right? 10 and 20 have not crossed. And yet we've got people talking about recession. All right? Now, what I'm going to be watching for really close is this right down in here, the squeeze indicator. Okay? All this, we got the move up, and we've got this. This is getting ready to go flat. Okay? So one has to wonder, is this going to turn into a red histogram on the downside? And if it does, then we're obviously coming down here and more than likely going to break the 38.2 and possibly come down to the 61.8. More than likely, even come down to the 78.6, which is around 2473. So that would be a 500 point drop on the S&P. Is that right? Am I thinking right? Now, from current levels, it would be, close to a 500 point drop on the S&P. Is that enough to send us into recession? Well, this sure as hell wasn't, right? That didn't send us into recession. But if we break the 78.6, I think it does send us into recession. And then we'll just play it by ear from there. And even funnier is go look at the monthly. I mean, moves like this just do not... That's incredible, guys. I mean, that is absolutely phenomenal. From the low of the financial crisis, when the S&P was at 606, to go all the way up to 3,000. What kind of percentage gain is that? Would you not think at some point that this thing has to correct? Now, I'm not saying it has to correct right now, because some people were going, okay, well, right in here, we're going to correct. And we're going to come all the way back down in here. And it didn't. And then it took off again. Correction. Small correction, but still staying within the uptrend. If we go into a recession, I would think it would be a short-lived one, probably very, very fast, very minor, and the market pulls back into this range and then takes off. But again, politics has a lot to play with how the markets go. So, anywho. Yeah, this is fascinating. I just love it. All right, enough of that. Let's see. What else is going on? Let's look at this other stuff here. ZRX. ZRX. God, I always loved a ZRX. This thing has just been a dog lately. Let's take out the 1272. Okay, so here we go with ZRX, and I think I did this chart last time we were here. I mentioned the 127.2, and if it broke it, come down and test this fib cluster, around 16 cents, right? So 16 cents. $16.50 maybe. Yeah, close to 16.5. Anything below that, she goes bye-bye. Then it's anybody's guess. So that's ZRX. XLM. Still hanging around like this 127.2, still trying to hold on here, but until it gets above the 10 EMA, no dice. No touch. ADA. Holding the 127.2. Let me take that out. There we go. And I think I'll take that out as well. 127.2 retrace, trying to hold it. If that fails, 161.8. What else? ADA BTC. That one actually had a fairly nice bounce the other day. And let's go do, well, 260. That's where I'm at on this. I can't go any lower. I mean, this thing's just, yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. I don't know. Every time this thing looks like it's trying to get some Momo going, it just gets, somebody keeps selling it. So if you want to try to dive into that, good luck. But if you're going to do it, like I said, just make sure to, take your profits when you get them. What else? Matic. Didn't this one have a big move the other day? Oh, it did. Yeah, back in here. Okay. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. As long as it can hold above the 10, 20, and 50 EMAs, bullish. What else we got? NEO. That's the BTC. Oh, gosh. I need to get rid of a bunch of stuff here. Hang on. Wow. Let's do... Golly. This thing broke through all kinds of resistance or support. Oh, my God. Yeah, I'll just leave it like this for right now. That is ugly. I would say on that one, get past this area, what, 1076? 1075? What about, oh, here we go. One, was that the one that everybody was high on? Had some big news or something? I think it was one, what was the other one? It was ONE and something else. There was another one. Was it Matic? Some big news or something that something was going to happen, or... Oh, well. All right, man. Hey, I appreciate you coming in. Take care, buddy. Yeah, I don't really have... Oh, here we go. BTC breaking down a little bit more. Okay, so I broke the 50. Oop. Oh, gosh, dog it. Son of a buck. All right, I'm going to have to redo that fib. Son of a buck. Let's do that. There we go. All right, so BTC broke the 50% retracement, which I think I told you guys I didn't think it was going to hold. And now it's down to, oh, here we go. Starting to really get some Momo picking up a little bit. Testing the 61.8 and the 50 EMA. Right there on the money. All right, guys, any questions? All right, I'm going to go ahead and close it out, and we will see you guys later. Thank you.